Hi folks, it's Switchback. Today I want to talk a little bit about how to stay warm when you're out on the trail. First, let's talk about nighttime. You're going to want to think about your sleep system, and your sleep system is going to be your sleeping bag and your sleeping pad. Sleeping pads have something called an R value, and the higher the number, the more insulated it is. And so for summer, you might want something with an R value of 2, but in the wintertime, you might want something in the 5 or 6 range. For sleeping bags, the ratings are often not about comfort, but about survivability. Most people are more comfortable in a sleeping bag that's rated about 15 to 20 degrees lower than the lowest that they expect to see. If you're expecting to be in 30 to 35 degree temps, you might want a 15 degree bag. If you're going to be in something colder, you might consider a 0 degree bag. Adding a closed cell pad is a lightweight way to add some extra insulation, especially if you're going to be camping on snow. Have a fresh set of clothes that you use designated just for sleeping. Most people choose base layers, and you can even have another pair of socks, hat, gloves, all of that just designated for sleeping. Avoid piling on too many layers because even though it's counterintuitive, it keeps your sleeping bag from being able to do its job of insulating you. If you do need extra, you can put things over your sleeping bag, such as an emergency or space blanket, your puffy jacket. I know that my butt, because I'm a stomach sleeper, tends to get a little cold, so I'll throw my puffy over that sometimes. I personally try to avoid sleeping in my puffy because otherwise, what am I going to wear when I get up in the middle of the night to go pee or first thing in the morning? When you're looking at sleeping bags or quilts, women's tend to be warmer just because women tend to sleep a little bit colder. Also, one with a hood might be a little bit warmer as well. And you can buy these separately if your bag does not have a hood. You can always use a sleeping bag liner. Just be aware that they tend not to be as helpful as they tend to claim. So if it says that it gives you about 10 degrees more of warmth, it's probably more like 3. Some people like to add a Nalgene bottle of boiling hot water in their sleeping bag. If you choose to do this, I have never done it, but if you choose to, be sure to wrap it in some layers to keep it from burning you. Avoid breathing into your sleeping bag because it can add condensation, which will just make you colder. You can always wear a balaclava, which can be made out of fleece, and that'll go over your face to keep you warmer if that's an issue. If you're not going solo, consider sharing your tent with your friend or with a pet, and that will give you a little bit more body warmth inside of your tent. A tent will keep you warmer than most other shelters, and you can consider whether you want a single wall tent or a double walled tent. A double walled tent will do a better job of keeping condensation off of you. If you do choose a double wall tent, be sure to use the rain fly to help reduce any wind and to keep that heat in. When you're choosing where to set up your tent, avoid going near any water sources or in any meadows. Staying near trees will actually keep you warmer because the trees do give off a small amount of heat. The trees will also provide some shelter from the wind. If there aren't trees, look for another way to be sheltered from the wind. Avoid the highest or lowest points because those will often be the coldest and most exposed. If you can, find something that gets a little bit of morning sun, and that'll help warm you up first thing in the morning. Before you go to bed at night, you can always do a few exercises like jumping jacks, push-ups, etc. before you get into your sleeping bag, and then that way you'll have that warmth going in. If you get a little bit cold, you can always do a plank because that'll sure fire up a little heat. So now let's talk about daytime. You're going to want to wear some warm, breathable layers. Some people like to use rain gear to keep them warm, and you can do this. Just be mindful that it's not very breathable, and so your sweat may stay in, and then when you stop or you're going down a hill, you might get cold. Take some warm gloves or mittens to wear in the evening and in the morning, and some people even choose to use these for sleeping. Depending on the conditions, you might consider some waterproof boots and some warm socks. Just be sure to try these out ahead of time and make sure that they work well for you. Carry an appropriate jacket, and that might even include a separate light jacket to use during the daytime. I have 2 different puffies that I like to wear. I have one that's the North Face Neptune jacket, which is quite thick and heavy, and then I also have the Patagonia down sweater, which is a much lighter puffy. I have a light jacket that I wear during the day sometimes, which is the Patagonia Houdini, and it balls up to about the size of a baseball, and it's very lightweight, so it's an easy thing to add in. If it's safe and allowed, you can build a fire to keep you warm. Just be mindful of your fire impacts and all the regulations around the fires. Put on your rain gear before you get wet. If you anticipate it's going to start raining, put it on. Avoid hiking in really warm layers. better to stay cool on the trail and then warm up in camp. You'll also want to avoid sweating in your clothes too much. So if you feel like you're about to start sweating, go ahead and peel off a layer. Take some warm foods and beverages with you as well. I personally like tea and hot chocolate out on the trail, and definitely some warm coffee in the morning. A few other miscellaneous items. One thing to consider is whether or not it's okay for your water filter to freeze. Many of them cannot, or if they do, they'll break. And so you'll want to take that and potentially any electronics and put those in your sleeping bag with you at night. If it's still freezing during the day, you're going to want to put that inside of your jacket or somewhere against your body. It's easier to stay warm than it is to get warm, and so you need to consider the times that you can anticipate getting colder than you have been. And so when you get out of your sleeping bag, if you're taking a break while you're on the trail, if you're transitioning to downhill, or if you're just chilling in camp, all of these are going to be times that you would be much more likely to get cold versus when you're moving, if you're climbing uphill, etc. Even when you're just taking a break on the trail, look for a nice sunny spot that's sheltered from the wind. If there's any chance that your pack might get wet, consider using a pack liner, a trash compactor bag, or a contractor bag for putting your sleeping bag and your sleep clothes inside. If you're going to be sitting somewhere, avoid sitting directly on a surface. You can always use an insulated pad. Some people even sit on their sleeping pads. You can also carry hand warmers and foot warmers with you. I personally enjoy wrapping my sleeping bag around me in the morning or in the evening when I'm just hanging around camp, but I'm cold. Enjoy a solid, warm dinner before you go to bed, and make sure that you're getting enough calories to account for not only your activity, but the fact that you're going to burn more calories trying to stay warm if it's cold out. A little warm tea might be nice before bed as well. I hope you found these helpful to keep you nice and warm while out on the trail, and I welcome any feedback. Be sure to leave me a comment, like the video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!